The Bureau of Statistics, Gbos, Thursday held a press briefing at its institutes in Bangkok to give an update on the progress of the 2022 population and housing census implementation process. The media conference was also meant to offer clarity and share updates on the current status of the population and housing census, especially in light of the allegations made about the payment of allowances to the identified census field workers. Our reporter Yahya Jammeh tells us more of that in this report.
In line with international recommendations, every decade, the Gambia carries out the population and housing census following global guidelines to gather data on the country's population size, distribution and characteristics. This data is deemed crucial for policy making, planning, administration and various programs in education, labor, health and serving as a foundation for future household surveys. Speaking during the press briefing, Nyakasi MB Sanyang, the Statistician General of the Gambia Bureau of Statistics Gbos, clarified that the rumor of $700 for meals and $300 for allowance for the field workers is untrue. He said it is $300 that is designated for the transport bushmen.
$700 allocation for meals and $300 for transport reform. There are a lot of misconceptions regarding the claim that participants were supposed to receive $1,000 as daily allowances for attending the training. It was alleged that Gbos allocated $700 per trainee to cater for lunch and breakfast, while $300 was given as allowance. It is important to note that no such amount was allocated as allowances to participants. The $300 provided is not compensation for time spent attending the training. Rather, it's given to them as transport reform. The $300 transport reform is based on joint country and UN policies. Gbos invited participants to a training. It is the responsibility of Gbos to provide meals of sufficient quality and quantity for the duration of the training.
Commenting on the issue of tax deduction from the money paid to the field workers, Mr. Henry Mendy from GRA explained that it is required by the law to deduct tax from individuals earning over $2,000.
Is it legal for Gbos to cut it? I said yes. It is legal. If they don't, the law also empowered GRA to force Gbos to pay that amount from their own money. So the thing is simple and clear. If you earn more than $2,000, you should pay tax. And if we look at the enumerators and the supervisors and whoever is involved, what they are being paid, whether it's for 1 week or for two weeks or for 1 month, is more than $2,000. So Gbos is obliged to deduct the 10% and then pay to GRA. That's my task here.
Cognizant of the highlighted tax implications, one of the Gbos officials further explained that there was an increase in payment for enumerators from $1,000 to $1,200 and for supervisors $1,400 to ensure they receive the full amount after tax deduction.
Initially, a year back, what we agreed between the PIU and Gbos was $1,000 per enumerator. Supervisor $1,200. But when we do the math, we see that 10% out of that will take a great chunk of their money. If you look at our first pump that was sent to the World Bank, you'll find that it was $1,000 per day for enumerator, supervisor $1,000, $1,200. Then I have a discussion with SG. Then we agreed that at least to offset the tax issue, let's increase it to $1,200. For supervisor, increase to $1,400. So that after the tax, in fact, the enumerators are earning extra $80 instead of $1,000. I think this is something that need to be that the public need to be notified to know that at least Gbos in their capacity did everything to make sure that the enumerators are motivated.
Despite some of the challenges encountered during the process, The Gbos officials said all of the centers have launched field operations in various districts, starting with the listing of compounds, buildings and structures across the country, to be followed by the counting of all persons living in the country on census night, which according to them is scheduled on May 31st, 2024. Accordingly, the Gambia Bureau of Statistics, Gbos, is encouraging all Gambians to fully participate in the process and also cooperate by furnishing the field officers the right information that can aid planning and provision of services. For African News, Khadija